Welcome, comrades, дядя Hao, Penyoman, всем привет и здорово. My name is Morgengrad, and we are about to begin our fight against Lizardmen, their army led by Krogar, with some saurus warriors, with the healing crystal, and all the stuff that is so crazy about Lizardmen. Who is going to be fighting them? Well, this is not going to be a surprise because I'm a big fan of this race, and these are... So, as you see, the formation here is quite... you can say surprising or not surprising, considering the advantage of the wood elves in woods, the melee attack and defense that they get fighting in woods. So the formation consists of two groups of Wardancers with swords, with some Sisters of Thorn, Eternal Guards in the front line from both sides, so groups are quite equal. The general is Ancient Treeman, which has some healing spells. He's got melee attack buff around himself. And another group is led by Branch Rest that is actually taking the same role as the general of the Wood Elves. So in the middle there is one Glade Guard Starfire Shards unit with Wardancer and Eternal Guard, just to be a bait to the enemy, to let him move forward. And of course, my comrades, he knows that probably something is awaiting in the woods. So at some point the Lizardman moves forward his scouts, which are skink skirmishers, with some skink cohorts to the right flank to see what is waiting inside. He's pushing forward with saurus warriors, taking fire from Star Shards, Glade Guards, and the main army is about to clash here in the woods, led by the mighty Treeman, which is a very tanky guy. And saurus warriors are attacking the unit that is pursuing these Cold One Riders. So Sisters of Thorn are waiting for the moment to attack, and the front line of saurus warriors fighting in the right flank of the Wood Elves army. Well, quite surprising now for me, after not playing a lot of Warhammer, to see how effective, how cost efficient the Wardancers are at this moment. They're just insane in dealing against the infantry, especially when they got a chance to heal. So here we have on the left flank Krogar, who is trying to mess up with some Sisters of Thorn. Of course, he is not able to catch them, but taking on them time to time makes him to deal a lot of damage. So the front line is actually not present here because main troops were consistent on the right flank, forest, and the left flank. So slowly, but Wood Elves are able to come from the left to the flank and to the rear of army of Lizardmen. And here come some Temple Guards are about to clash with Wardancers. Well, the shiny armor and big muscles, that's good, but Temple Guards are not being able to be very cost effective against melee anti-infantry specialists as Wardancers. So it's actually not so good to spend their time against those, but there are not many large targets for Temple Guards to catch. No Treeman, nothing else. So actually that's the only thing that can happen now. As you see, some saurus warriors are raging now in fight against the Eternal Guards, and the Sister of Thorn are able to provide some fire support and melee attack support to the troops of enemy located in different sides of the battlefield. This mobility of the Sister of Thorn is quite good utilized. You just don't spend any time making them skirmish, just let them go forward, to not to let any solar engines to fire, not to let anything else to feel free, and just attack all the time from behind, just make them useful.
Straight away! Quickly! We will have that
even though Wardancer may seem surrounded, and overwhelmed by amount of enemy troops, the high moral and these crazy spirit of killers from woods, letting them to fight as long as possible to win some time for their foes to die and to retreat. So this unit of Wardancers is quite formidable foe against any infantry, even armored one. After doing a lot of tests, it just I'd say that they're a little bit overpowered at this moment. I don't know, you may probably think that they could be damaged with some arrows, projectiles quite considerably, but they're quick, you know, and the formation is quite spread, so it's not so easy to get these lasses. So I'd advise to use these girls against any infantry that you can find. It's quite good unit, especially. Well, some may say that it's not that fair to fight in woods, especially on tournaments, and force your opponent to come to woods. Like, I know that some tournaments, especially local tournaments, they even set some rules that you cannot place all your armies in a wood. This is some kind of abuse. But I'd say that, well, why not? If you have a wood map, this game is not only about units, it's also about landscapes and how you are able to force your opponent to fight in a landscape, on a landscape that you need. Well, if you are able to bring your enemy to the forest and use all the bonuses that your race provided with, well, why not? Just do this and let your treemen, let your infantry fight large enemy units, then have that advantage fighting in woods. So this is what's happening now. Lizardmen army that is actually being based upon some landscape, more open landscape, is not able to do much in the woods. What is quite important most of the time against wood elves, where you playing Lizardmen, it's good to bring some skirmishers to deal some damage, but remember that wood elves would have good silver shields, and it's a nice idea for wood elves just to push with shields all these skirmishers. Those are not able to fight in melee combat that good, and they're going to be able to retreat, of course, but they're wasting their time on shields. So this is not the goal for you just to catch these guys. Just the goal is just to win some time, not let the skirmishers like Chameleon's Kings or anything else to use their projectiles to damage your Wardancers or Sisters of Thorn or whatever it is. So these shields, their role is just to win some time for their fellow. Well, it seemed to be a good idea for wood elves to bring some kind of mage, female mage to the field, because she's able to actually bring some nice spells that are not available to the branch. I prefer the branch wraith because this is quite forgiving and easy unit to use. He has one guard deployment. You can put him in front of your army to soak some damage in the beginning by the projectiles. He's able to heal. He's got physical resistance, and he is quite formidable foe in close combat. So he can be used to fight against infantry, against cavalry, against heroes, against whatever it takes. And he's still a caster, so I'd advise to use this branch race unit. He's really good.
Kill them!
So as you can see at this point, some small micro from time to time surrounding enemy forces by quite fast Wardancers, and Sister of Thorn was enough to break most of Lizardmen units, to send his mage pursuing ranged units and get surrounded by Sister of Thorn that won't forgive this behavior from just a mage. And now it's just over for this poor King priest. And at this point there is only Krogar with some solar engine left, but they are about to be surrounded by some spears, by branch race, which is very tanky as being mentioned. And the main force of wood elves are now changing their position from the right flank, coming to the middle, fighting these good Cold One riders that were brought here to deal with some large troops and ended up fighting Wardancers. So both roles are not quite perfect to fight against each other, but the amount of the damage that Wardancers are able to bring is quite good even against these quite terrifying big cold riders. By my experience, most of the time cavalry is all about the mobility and good charge, so most of duels between infantry and cavalry is going to end up not in cavalry's favor. So remember about that when you are picking your fight. Just take on cavalry with infantry, even though it's not specialized anti-large infantry. Go on cavalry. Most of the time it's going to be a good idea. So here it is, comrades, Pyrrhic victory. We've got quite even armies from both sides. CPU easy, that is the opponent's name. It was a player who picked this name. So what to remember, what to learn from this fight. My opponent brought an army with a solar engine, which is actually being better used on open landscapes, not on woods with hills like this map was. And if you are playing some high elf or beastman or wood elf, just pick your fight smart. Just stay in woods, provoke your opponent to come to get your army in the woods, get your buffs, and just meld their forces as you can. Try to use your speed to bait the opponent, to flank them, to use your skirmishers to poison them, and don't forget about heals and buffs that your lords provide. At some point you may see some king skirmishers that are going to kite you. If you are not able to catch them or shoot them, just use your spears with shields just to win some time and let your specialized anti-infantry units to kill all other troops that your opponent got. So if you want to see more videos, just like the video, subscribe. Let me please know in the comment section what specific matchup you'd like to see. I would be really excited to play something very difficult, some dead matchup, as some people say. Like, if you know anything that is very hard to play against some specific race, please let me know in comments. I'll make a video as soon as possible. I hope you enjoy. Да-да, сесеним, всем пока, удачи и спасибо. Bye.